Okay, I think we are good.
Looks great.
Are we good? Yeah. Okay. Call the ZBA Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of April 23rd, 2026 to order. Jude Salato.
Joe Bellick.
Martin Mills.
Okay, we have a quorum. Are there any changes or additions to the meeting agenda?
Nope.
No? Okay. Let's approve the meeting minutes from 3/26/2026. Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Does anybody have, we already asked? Okay, so just going through our outstanding cases, 2501, we have not heard from them since February, I believe it was the 10th. I guess we'll give it a little more time. I don't really know what to do with that one right now, but I think we should give it a little more time. That was 2501, ZBA case 2601, application of Lisa Nardi, that is for shelter. We're still waiting for, she wanted a variance for her open flag, but there are all kinds of other things that are out of compliance there. We're trying to work through that. It's kind of on hold. So that's where that one stands. They have a lot of sentences. Okay, so moving on to case 2602, application of Francesca Rossi. And I have a resolution. Okay, so I'd like to open case 2602, Francesca Rossi.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Here is the resolution. Based upon the standards for consideration of area variances and conditional upon compliance with stated representations, area variances from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 4, area and bulk regulations, modification of required yards, Section 260-26B1A for a 6-foot infringement into a required 25-foot front yard setback in order to construct a 1,240 square foot non-residential accessory structure that contains 940 square feet of studio space, 300 square feet of storage space, and includes a bathroom as permitted by Article 4, Section 260-55B and C, is hereby granted subject to all the requirements of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, the New York State Real Property Law, and all other applicable laws, codes, and regulations. Discussion. Does anybody have anything?
Nope.
No.
Okay, I do.
I like the way you wrote the studio.
Yes, yes. There was some concern that this had taken us a while to get through, and I just want to go on the record saying that the reason that this was kind of held up is because the representative told us the entire space was used for a studio, and that is only allowed to be 1,000 square feet. They then came back and said that some of that was going to be used for for storage on the first floor, not in the loft area. So that's kind of gone back and forth as well. But that's why it took a little while to get through this one. I also did go out there. I know I did not go on the property, but I did drive down the road just to see where it was and what it was, because we should have a visual. I didn't think I needed to announce myself if I was driving on the road. So I think we're allowed to do that. Okay, so you guys ready to vote?
Yeah.
Okay, the vote was announced as follows. Jude Salato, aye. Joseph Bellick.
Aye.
Martin Mills.
Aye.
Greg Goodroad.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted by a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, nobody absent, and nobody abstaining. Okay, moving on. Close the case. Okay, so this is sort of an interesting thing. When we vote on it, doesn't that make it close automatically? We go through all these things. Okay, I move to close case 2602. Second.
Aye. Second.
All in favor? Okay, all right, next case, we have not had a chance to discuss this, so before I read the resolution, let's have a brief discussion about it. Does anybody have anything to offer here?
What case?
I'm sorry, case 2603, Susie Lee Corn and Kara Davis. This was the barn on Xena Road. Anybody have any?
No.
Okay, I do. I went out to see it and met with them, and they showed me where they want to put it, and pretty much what I wrote in the resolution is what they said. It's in a very inconspicuous spot, and there's really nothing more to offer about that. I think it's fine. Okay, so I go ahead and read the resolution. You guys good with that?
And then this is the case where they purchased the property from the neighbor. And
Yes.
Yeah, the utility.
the neighbor's in favor of it.
Yes.
Okay.
The neighbor has a very long driveway. We'll never see this, and I don't
Right.
think it'll be visible from the road either, or any other neighbors. It's a pretty isolated spot where they have it. I don't think it's gonna intrude on
good.
anybody's anything. Okay. So the resolution, based upon the standards for consideration of area variances and conditional upon compliance with stated representations, area variances from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 4, area and bulk regulations, section 260-16, attachment 2, residential R3F, for a 25-foot infringement into a required 50-foot side yard setback in order to construct a 960-square-foot barn/workshop is hereby granted, subject to all the requirements of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, the New York State Real Property Law, and all other applicable laws, codes, and regulations. The vote was announced as follows. Judith Stellato, aye. Joseph Bellick.
Aye.
Martin Bills.
Aye.
Greg Goodrow.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted by a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 absent, and nobody abstaining. Okay, I'd like to open ZBA 20.
Close up. Sorry.
I really think when we vote on it, it's closed, but okay, we'll find out about
We'll
these
find out,
details,
yeah.
because it seems to me like it's so
It's open
redundant.
now.
It's open. Okay, I move to close ZBA case 2603.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, move to open case 2604.
Patty Hearst.
Yes, and we should have a discussion on that before I read the resolution. Does anybody have anything to offer on this? I always try to let everybody go before I do.
Oh, yeah, I do actually.
Okay.
I drove past it.
Okay,
My feeling is, look, requiring 2 cars per residential unit in the hamlet commercial zone is going against what the town wants from the master plan, from the proposed change of, the zoning regulations that haven't been enacted, but proposed, the town wants higher density in the hamlet
Mhm.
and more units for rent.
right,
And we're going against the grain and we're requiring, environmentally speaking, I think requiring 2 cars. When you can walk to everything that's accessible for needing to live, laundry, grocery, you don't need a car to live in the hamlet. You have access to everything that, generally humans need access to outside of their home.
okay,
I think that we're missing the boat here
okay,
if we deny this because of parking and requiring residential units to have 2 cars.
okay. Anyone else?
I think that it's really squeezed on that road for double parking.
But there's enough room on the property to have 2 cars. I mean, I drove by.
In the one driveway on the left.
Yeah, I drove by it today. It's tight. I mean, obviously there's maybe some consideration for increasing the parking area, but, I don't think that we're telling people to park on the street.
You want to show the picture?
Yes, thank you. I took some photos if you guys have
I
you
think
seen it.
they made that point though.
Have you seen it?
They did say that
Yeah.
street parking is
Images of
legal,
it.
they did make that point.
I don't recall, yeah, but Potentially.
Is it here? Is it really three? Or three, I think.
Two, you sent me 3 pictures, but 2 were the exact same one.
No, they were, but okay, it's okay.
I thought.
Okay, it's okay, it's really okay, it doesn't matter, everybody's been by it, it's fine, I will make sure tomorrow that I sent you the right ones, I took 4, I sent you 3. Okay, yes,
I was just, gonna say that in this, I don't disagree with what Martin said, but in this particular situation, it seemed to me that, the variance that was being asked for was, really of the applicant's own making, and largely related to how she intends to use the property, to rent out the unit. So in that circumstance, I'm not compelled to approve the request.
remind me again, was there a proposed change to the parking that exists, or were they gonna keep it as is?
Sean was saying so, they were gonna keep it as is.
There
The,
used to be parking on the other side.
Yeah, there were
Used to
2
be.
driveways.
yes, in 2018, I believe they said it was, that they changed it over and they got rid of that second lot and they made it a one-family home. So, so this is my take on this, is she said that she was going to,
What are you missing?
I'm sorry?
What are you missing?
No, I said I'm messing everything
Oh,
up.
no, nothing.
No, I'm totally
No,
messing
don't worry
everything
about
up.
it, don't worry.
And I'm looking for my, which I brought with me and now I can't find. So basically she said she was gonna limit it to one person or one person with a car. And, you can't do that. New York State law is that you have to allow, someone to have that a roommate. It's a New York State law. So now we're talking about, we cannot say, okay, we'll give it to you on the condition that you will limit this to one person, one car. You can't tell people they can't have a car.
You can
Thank you.
actually, you can give them one space.
You can give them one space, but if they want to have a car, they can have a car, they would park it on the street, which is what we're trying to avoid in that situation because of where it's located. And, you know, the thing is, when we
Is
look,
parking allowed on the street?
parking is allowed, but have you seen any cars on that road other than by CVS? I've been by there about 5 or 6 times. I've seen one up by Tannery Brook and the ones by CVS, and other than that, I haven't
There
seen
was
any.
one park there when I drove by,
Yeah,
and someone was coming the other way, so we had to stop.
I used to know someone who lived across the street, it's a parking lot, but
okay, so, I believe that you can't limit the number of people in an apartment. You can rent to one person, you can have one tenant, but you cannot restrict them from having a roommate.
I don't think that's a
It's-
mitigating factor. We shouldn't
it
be
is.
asking them to limit the number of people if we want to give a variance on the number of parking spaces.
I agree with you, but you know, I mean, I disagree with you that everything that you need is in town. I totally disagree with that.
What
You
would
can
use
walk
that?
to things, I agree with, there are some things you can walk to, and there are some people who probably or don't have cars, but I think generally speaking, in a rural area like this, we're not a city. We don't have services, we don't have things that people need.
Well, there's actually a defined list of services that people need within walking distance. It's groceries, it's laundry, it's barbers. You know, those are the things that people need. We have doctor's office, sure, we don't have like emergency medical or like a, 24-hour care, but we do have plenty of services.
Okay, limited as they are, expensive as they are. What about if somebody has a job and they have to drive to it? I don't think there's a lot of, I don't think we can speak to how the high paying jobs in Woodstock. Okay, so we basically have a disagreement here. I think that in this situation, somebody is asking for something because they want to rent, and they still can rent this as a two-bedroom apartment, which is also something that the town needs. We're not talking, we don't know what anybody's gonna ask for this property, for these rental units. We have no idea what that's gonna be, and so that's irrelevant to us. And it's also irrelevant if somebody wants to maximize, their rental income. That is not how we base our decision. We have to look at it as where it is and what the town law is currently, which is, requires 2 spots per unit, and how substantial of a variance they're asking for, and they're asking for 50%, which is pretty significant.
And what happens if she sells it?
And she, of course, but the variance goes with the land, so whoever else purchases it, they will benefit from the same variance. Anybody have anything else? There is a resolution on the table, so I will read it and we will vote and see what happens. Okay, based upon the standards for consideration of area variances set forth in section 260-103B of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, and area variance from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, boy, that sounds redundant, huh? Article 4, area and bulk regulations, parking and loading standards, section 260-30A1B, to allow 1 parking space per dwelling unit instead of the 2 required parking spaces per dwelling unit in order to convert to a 2-family home. Said variance is hereby denied, subject to all the requirements of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, the New York State real property law, and all other applicable laws, codes, and regulations. The vote was announced as follows: Judy Salato, aye. Joseph Bellick.
Aye.
Martin Mills.
Nay.
Greg Goodroad.
Aye.
Resolution was adopted by a vote of 3 in favor, 1 opposed, 0 absent, and 0 abstaining. I think I got all these back in the yellow folder at least.
All good.
All signed. Okay, moving on.
Move to close.
Move to close case.
Second.
Jeez.
We're
2604.
gonna do it with one, we're gonna do it all. Then
All in
next meeting we'll
favor?
figure it out.
Aye.
I really think we're
I know, I think
voting
so,
soon,
but
but it's okay.
Yeah.
We will figure
Figure it
that
out.
out,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so next, reviewing cases that have been received. This is ZBA case 2605, Aaron Yassin, Glasgow Ridge LLC. I would like to request escrow for this. I spoke to our attorney and got an estimate of 15 hours, $2,500. Move that we request escrow from this applicant. Second, please.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I don't know that we need to vote on that, truthfully, but I just figure it's better to bring it to you guys. ZBA case 2606, David and Barbara Blumenthal. We should probably take a look at these applications when they come to us and not put the burden completely on Michelle. So I did look through it, and I don't know if you saw any of the email thread, but I am going to request, there is an architect in the application who said if we need anything to please contact him. So I would like for us to contact the architect and request building elevations if they have them. I think that's a reasonable request for us to see for a variance that's, I think it was 28 feet into 50 or something like that. So, and the other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to check and see what the zoning is on this, because it says R3 on here, the map, it's okay, we don't have to do that now, we'll look at it, we'll look into it. It says R3 on here, but on Ulster County Parcel Viewer, it says it's R5. So I would like to,
So I don't know if it's within there or if it's out here.
right.
The blue is R5, but this part.
It's
is
on the
R3.
left-hand side of the road. Look, Rock Hill is a sort of a U shape. I mean, it's not U shape, but there's
So
two
I'm thinking
of these
this is Brock Hill, because it says it right there, Brock Hill, I think it's just all this, so all of that surrounding is R3.
Okay, well, I think we should find out, because the Ulster County Postal Bureau has it as R5, which they often get it wrong,
Mhm.
but it's worth finding out. It doesn't make any difference really, except that it would be, they only have 3 acres, so it'd be a modified setback anyway. Anyway, I just wanted to discuss that with you guys. I would like for us to ask for more information. That's just an FYI. Okay.
And on that application, there's also.
Is there a site plan for this application?
There's, you know, there's some things in the application.
Yeah.
There's like this, you got this.
Yeah, I have an extra copy. This is. That's what they gave us.
Normally we get more, but I'm gonna move on to other at this point because this is related to this discussion and just not specific to this application.
Well, for this one, I just wanted to let everybody know that I have been reaching out to all the applicants ahead of time to make sure that, which I've never done this in the past, but because of last year and the issues that we have with quorum and everything, I've been reaching out to the applicants to see if certain dates work for them. So with this case in particular, there's 4 people stated on this application.
Right.
There's the owners, there's a representative, and then there's an architect.
Right.
So I did talk to everybody, and then they were all okay to come the day that we scheduled them.
And I hope all of you are as well. We didn't actually find out if people can be here. Can you guys be here for our first meeting? Is it the 14th, I think?
May 14th.
That's probably important to know before Michelle sends out the, public hearing, legal notice and all that.
Yeah.
You think you can be here on the 14th, what about you, Gmail?
Is that the right date?
Yeah, I think I
Yes.
can.
Yeah, May 14th.
Thursday.
Yeah.
What about you?
The 14th?
I
It's the
do-
14th, the 7th?
No.
The
It's
7th
the
is the
second.
1st. We're the 2nd and 4th,
Second and
Thursday, so I
fourth,
think it's the 14th.
I do have potential
Okay.
conflict, but it could be resolved. Not
Okay.
really about this.
Okay.
And if maybe we could always ask Howard as well.
Oh, it's true, we have Howard on,
I'm sure.
on
you-
speed dial. Okay. Okay, are you good, Joe?
Yes.
Moving along. Okay, so this is, I put on here ZBA authority. So there's been a lot of back and forth, which I'm not gonna directly address. However, we do have the authority to ask for any information that we need in order to make a decision. We've always gotten building elevations and sometimes photographs of buildings and all kinds of things. And it's really kind of hard for us to make a decision on something when we don't even know what it is. So we are independent. Nobody has authority over us except us. So just wanted to clear that up. Okay, we reviewed the upcoming applications.
I want to say one thing about that. I think
Please.
we should be conscious of where people are at the point of the project. If we're asking for elevations, that could be a significant cost to the applicants if it
Right,
doesn't pertain to the actual variant. So
Well-
if they're at this point in a project where it's site plan only, and they're asking for a setback, they may have to spend significant money to get those elevations from a licensed architect. It's expenses that we should be cautious about.
gotcha. I understand, but generally speaking, when people ask for a variance, we have to know what it is they're asking for. And there is an architect listed on the plan. It's not on the
Right, but
application.
what I'm saying is architects charge to do work. so
But
that
there is
might
an architect listed on the application. We can ask if there are elevations
Yeah.
or if they know what they need, chances are they've laid it out on some level.
I think, look, I've worked with architects for decades.
Okay,
And there may be a point, like, to me, I would say, if I was the client of the architect, before moving forward with more work,
Mhm.
I'd wanna know if paying for that work was gonna be able to move forward with building it.
Yeah.
And it's not cheap to hire architects.
I
right.
mean, I have a slightly different view, not different, but Jude, I think it's totally fine for you to ask.
Mhm,
And if they have them, they'll give them to us.
mhm.
They're certainly not required, but
We can require that.
well,
Yeah.
my view about this is if we do not think that the application has enough information in it
Mhm.
to make a determination in favor of the applicant, such as if we ask for the elevations and they don't have them, you know, as a board, we could vote to deny the application on the basis that we don't have enough information, or we could look at it and say we have enough. So it's really up to the applicant if they want to spend the money at this point. You know, they can obviously go through the process and see if it gets approved.
Or have
Without
public
the
hearing
elevations.
before we ask for more.
Correct,
You
yeah.
know, I think that gives us a lot more information
Well,
after the public hearing.
I think we can ask if there are elevations available. I think that's fair. Not that they have to produce them, but if they are available, if they
And
could provide them.
For all we know, they might have already given all that information to the building department also, because that has already happened multiple times.
Well,
Yes.
then isn't that automatically put into the file?
Apparently not.
Well, that's
it
part of
hasn't
the
been
issue.
happening.
Well, then that's
So
an
that-
administrative issue.
Yes, so that's on, I mean, I'll start being very picky with these applicants. I didn't realize that they were holding back so much information at this point, but now that it's happened twice, then.
I don't disagree, we should get everything that's.
From now on, I
submitted.
will be very
Absolutely.
And there's no harm in asking,
Right,
right, and what they give us.
right.
you know.
So again, just wanted to run it by you. I think that one of the things we're supposed to do, if it shouldn't all fall on Michelle, is we should review these applications for completeness to see whether or not we have everything that we need. It shouldn't always be falling on Michelle. I think that's what other boards do. Yes, yeah, we take a look.
Same thing with the escrow thing. I actually had asked you to please make that motion tonight, because then now I can go and call the gentleman tomorrow, the applicant, and say, hey, you know, there was a discussion about your case. And if they might say, listen, I don't want to pay the rent, like, and then they might not come in front of us because they don't want to, you know, pay for that escrow. Or
Right,
maybe they'll be like, absolutely, no worries, you know, let's move on. But I thought it was better to say it ahead of time before and not surprise them the night of the public hearing and be like, hey, we're gonna ask for this.
right. Well, you know, I thought that, I thought it was probably okay for me just to go ahead and
Yeah.
ask for it, but we decided that it was better to go to everybody and talk about it.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary in this case. And, you know, if they don't want to provide the escrow, then we won't hear the case. That's basically what it comes down to. And that's in the zoning law, that we have the right to do that. And we probably won't move to a public hearing if they don't agree to it. So, just for the record. Okay, members writing decisions. I wanted to bring this up because when I write the decisions, and I know, Martin, you offered to let me write all of them in the future, I actually write them from nuts to bolts. I start from the beginning. I look at the zoning law, see what sections of the law it needs, and I write what the nature of the request is, and I write the descriptions. Michelle fills in the applicant statement to the public hearing because she has the minutes. We can't usually do that until those are done. My understanding is that in the past, members did that. They wrote the entire thing, and I've done it since I've been on the board because I feel like it gives me a lot of information. It gets me to the zoning law where I can see exactly what it says and exactly what we need to consider. And at some point, something shifted and it was like, well, Michelle can do all that and we'll just write the criteria. It's not fair, guys. It's not fair to have put that burden on her, and it really is our responsibility. And I'm willing to take on the hard cases, and actually most of them, but just to let you know, in the future, I would like to see us produce the bulk of it and just leave that one little section for her to complete, because it gets us more involved in the decision and understanding what it is and what it means. And also it takes some of the burden off of her. And luckily, you know, the past couple of years, we haven't had that many cases, but you know, there were years we had 30, and she, other than the ones that I wrote, she was doing all the work. And that's, That's not the way it's supposed to be, and that's not the way it always was, and I don't know why that happened. But anyway, I'm throwing that one out there. You guys can digest that.
I mean, I don't know what process you use versus the process that I've used in the past, but in the past, have emailed Michelle and asked her for copies of decisions
Similar
that involve
decisions.
similar issues, and then written most of it except for some of the very specific factual maybe the applicant or something like that,
Right.
and then sent it. So Michelle, I don't know how you view that, but let me know,
Okay, well,
because
no, I'm speaking for her at this point, because
Yes.
she's never gonna say, this is a burden on me. I start from the very beginning, I put the applicant information, I put their property information, the dates and places, I put it all in, and then I do write this, the resolution, I write the nature of the request, I write the summary of the statement, well, she writes the summary of the statements, but we write what specifically they're asking for, what section of the law it is. Again, think about it, but it's that's the way it always was done, and at some point it shifted. And I know it's work, it's work, it's definitely work, but nobody's asking you to do zillions of these, but maybe some of it to just try to take some of the burden off of her. That's my opinion. We can talk about it more, but like I said, I've always done it because I just felt like it was not her. As a member of the board, it's in my opinion, it's our responsibility. And it became somehow Michelle's responsibility. And I don't know when that happened, and she doesn't have to tell you guys it's okay, because it's not, in my opinion. Okay, I'll stick up for you. Okay, dates for mailings for public hearings. I know you have a schedule with, a deadline of when things can go out. I would like to see us move up when we mail those out. And if that means we have to set the public hearing a little bit earlier in order to meet those deadlines, the mail is terrible now. And people, they can't be getting it on the day of the public hearing. That's not fair, especially for people who may not actually, who are out of town or whatever. So maybe we can figure that out and maybe move it up a couple days when we mail those out. And then that may change when people have to confirm. But I also, I don't like that. People have to let you know by 3 o'clock on Friday in order for you to get it into the newspaper. So to let you know at 5 minutes to 3 on Friday,
Yeah.
That's also not fair. So I think we need to maybe open that up a little bit. And
So the timeline that's written in the actual zoning law is I have to send out the legal notice to the newspaper and to the contiguous neighbors the Monday before the public hearing. So like we had this, let's say that we had a public hearing today. I had to send out that legal notice last Monday, so the 17th, whatever that day was.
Okay.
That day, it all goes in the mail. It all gets sent out to the. So they have 10 days. 10 days before the hearing. Okay. But that's stated in the zoning law, so I can't. Right. I can't send it out to the neighbors. You can't send it out later, but you could send it out early. But I can't send it to the neighbors first and not to the newspaper. I see. Like they can't have the information before the newspaper. Okay. Because then the newspaper publishes it on that Wednesday. Right. So well, if you mailed it sooner, the newspaper would still come out first because of the way the mail is going. But it's just something to consider because I don't know about the newspaper comes out on Wednesday. So the idea behind that is that people would get the mail either that Wednesday or Thursday. So kind of like everybody's getting it at the same time. That's right. That's how it was explained to me years ago, and that's what's written in the zoning law. Well, there's nothing that says you can't do it sooner. That's the latest you can do it. I'm sure. Oh, to send it, you mean? Yeah. So listen. It's just something I thought about because I don't know about you, but my mail comes. It takes. So like maybe send it like the Friday. So if I send the legal notice on the Monday to the newspaper, that's just an email, and they get it right away. Right.
Yeah, they changed how they operate the post office.
Oh yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
If you bring it in even at 10 a.m. when they open, they'll put it out the next day.
Yes. Even if it's stamped, I know, because we're having issues with taxes.
Oh yeah, sure. That's why I brought mine.
They don't do overnight mail anymore.
No, not from here. It won't go out same day unless you got it to Kingston as well.
And FedEx is no longer going to be in town either.
That's like new.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just recently changed everything. Anyway,
And I think
it's just
their
something to
overtime was
consider.
cut, so they have less hours to catch up.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe
It's
send
just,
it out on Friday.
it's just something to consider, possibly, you know, just give people an extra little few days. If you're mailing notices to New York City, who knows when they're gonna get
Yeah.
there? You know, I
And
mean,
most of
maybe
them are
within
to the city.
Woodstock, you know,
Correct.
to be a little bit better, but
Yeah.
just to give people the opportunity
Okay,
to
I can
see
do
it. And, you know, and for me, somebody who has a post office box, I don't go every day, you know, if I'm, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it was just a thought, and it's something to consider. Okay, last thing is professional development. You know, you guys probably don't know this, but when Anula took office, you know, she was in touch with me and said everybody needs to do professional development. What are you offering to people? So I sent out all those emails to you guys with the various places you can get professional development. They were pretty adamant about people doing it. So this is just my little nudge for you. If you need more information, I'm happy to give it to you. But everyone is required to have 4 hours per year. If you happen to do 6, you can roll over the extra 2 to the next year. But they're pretty adamant about it, and it is in the zoning law also that people are required, you know, members are required to have training. And I've never seen this happen, but technically, it's grounds for removal.
Mhm.
I can't speak for what anybody else is gonna do, you know, and that's something else that this board used to do rather regularly, seem to have fallen by the wayside, and I understand it because it's a burden. The other thing is, you know, I read over in Phoenicia, I think it was Shindig, and they didn't reappoint someone because they had done professional development. It was an easy reason to not reappoint them. So if you want to be on this for the rest of your life, you gotta do it.
And know that if you guys come to, it doesn't have, like, you can have, there's online trainings, hour
Right.
trainings, but if you come to like a planning board meeting, just because, I don't know, we're talking about zero development, you wanna hear what's happening, that counts
Right.
as
Oh,
training.
it does.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, I know planning board counts, I don't know if you come to like WEC or like
Yeah,
any other,
I
I know
don't think-
planning board for sure.
Yeah,
And Melissa will actually type you guys something up that says, you know, that you came for whatever hours, hour and a half, then you already have those points there.
right.
One of the planning board meetings.
The other Thursdays.
The other
The other
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you gonna set something up for a meeting?
I had spoken to the
Yes,
New
that
York
too.
State Department of State about trying to set up a training here.
Yep.
They want us to have between 30 and 45 people, which obviously we would have to have outreach to other areas. We'd have to reserve space, and we'd have to get permission from the town to do all of that, maybe in the fall. I don't see me organizing that level of outreach and stuff this spring. I don't see it. And
But
also,
if John comes in a night like
we
tonight,
would have to pay him.
okay.
But use John.
Our-
John Lyons, our attorney,
Yeah.
like if he came in one night and had to explain to, because we did that once with, I believe it was
Rod.
Rod,
We
yes,
did
with
it,
Rod. And he just comes in and explains, you know, the process about opening and closing, should we always say this, and you like all of that stuff, that also counts as training.
Right, but he would have to be paid.
Oh, we have.
All these other trainings.
Surplus, right? So we can afford it.
Yeah, well, yeah, all this other stuff is free. And the Planning Federation has all kinds of free ones because the planning board pays for our membership and it covers the hotel, their hour piece or something like that. Okay, that's all I had. Does anybody have anything else?
Nope.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you, guys.
I'll make snacks next time.
Now that would
Did you
be a
pizza
new
party?